Welcome to Off the Roster, brought to you by our founding partner, Proline. Betting on Proline is now easier than ever with their new app. Download it today and make things interesting. I'm Lindsay, that's Dan.
Wait, what's so funny, Lindsay?
I don't know, why don't you... Nope. We're going to have a great show today. What's not funny is the make me laughs, but our guy Cabbie also here. Good morning. May I say, what a fresh haircut you have today.
Oh, jeez. Why do you
He's looking good. He's looking good.
I was real dusty after being in Italy for 3 weeks in a mountain village with one other black person, and that person was not a part. So coming home, I definitely need to get right immediately. So fresh fade.
I love it. I'm laughing right now because in the chat, again, go to YouTube, follow us underneath the Nation Network, join the chat live. Justin put a whole bunch of Italian in there, and I was trying to whisper to Dan before we were getting counted in the show. I'm like, what is he saying? I have no idea what's going on, but thank you, Justin, for translating that. Basically saying good morning and happy Friday to Lindsay, Dan, and Cabbie, and that I hope they're doing well. We're hoping everyone's doing well today, especially Leafs fans, because you're either loving the fact that they lost or you're hating it. And I had a bit of arts and crafts. Said I would
Let's go.
my white flag.
Yeah.
This is what was in my
geez.
bag. I had a straw, a hair clip, and a piece of paper for my notes when I do 9:05 games. It's over. I am so sorry. Like, what are they? They've won 2 regulation games in their last 14 or 15 games. Yesterday, the first period of hockey was rough, and then it's like, oh, they still have to play 2 more. This is going to be a long night. I hate Brad Marchand. I don't hate him as a person, but I hate him on the ice, and unless he's playing for Team Canada, I think he's a bum. Dan, how do you feel about another Brad?
Yeah, Brad Treliving is I'd be worried if I was Brad Treliving right now. It's a tough go for the Leafs. And in all seriousness, it's quite shocking how they've come out of the break here. These last 2 games have been atrocious efforts from the Maple Leafs. And yeah, your captain came off what was one of the biggest achievements of his career, was on a 3-day bender after winning the gold medal, and good for him, go out and party. You're allowed to do all of those things. You're looking for somebody else to step up while the Cap gets his legs back under him, and nobody was there for him. And the team played like they know their fate. Like Lindsay's flag mentioned, it's over. And you're a week out from the trade deadline. We all know what their fate is. And the funny part about it, and last night is part of this conversation, injuries. Keith Pelley's talking about injuries in his letter to the season ticket holders. You want to know who can complain about injuries? The Florida freaking Panthers, who wiped the floor with you last night. They've missed Sasha Barkov the entire season. Seth Jones, who was going to be an American Olympian, is not there because he's also injured. Matthew Tkachuk missed most of the first half of the season as well. You want a team that can complain but hasn't complained about injuries? The Florida Panthers, who are back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. I'm out on calling out the players for what's happened with the Leafs this year because, yes, you can point and say, hey, this guy's underperforming. That guy hasn't lived up to expectations. Sure, all of those things can be true. But ultimately, it comes down to the guy who's put the pieces in place, and that's Brad Treliving, who's done literally nothing to make this team any better this year. To rest your laurels on Chris Tanev, a 36-year-old oft-injured defenseman, that's a you problem, Brad. You put all of this defense and all of the success of this defense on Chris Tanev. That's unfair to Chris Tanev. That's on you. I don't know if anybody knows this, but if you look at the way the Calgary Flames, and Brad Treliving was the GM of the Calgary Flames before they went into this rebuild, he guided them into this rebuild, and now he's guiding the Leafs into an abomination of a rebuild towards the end of the Austin Matthews era. They've got a really difficult road ahead. Okay, very difficult road ahead. And I just don't have confidence that Brad Treliving is going to be the guy to get the Leafs back to contention in the final 2 years of Austin Matthews' current contract. So, yeah, you've got to be looking at everything if you're the Maple Leafs. And I know there's a lot of people that did not love everything Kyle Dubas did and what he meant to this Leafs franchise, but be careful what you wish for, because the alternative has been far worse than anything Kyle Dubas ever did as GM of the Maple Leafs.
Talk that talk, Dan Riccio.
You can hold my flag.
It's over.
Okay. Dan,
How dare you throw my flag on the floor like that? The disrespect. My hair clip and straw that I travel with? Come on, Dan. Anyway, sorry. Cabbie, what's up?
Dan, you made some salient points. And listen, Chris Tanev is a big part of, even though he's 36, he's a big part of the team, bro. William Nylander's been injured. Austin Matthews been injured. I'm not like saying these are not excuses, but these are some of the reasons for Toronto's lack of success. And you mentioned the Florida Panthers. Bro, they're behind the Toronto Maple Leafs in the standings, dude. So, like, yes, they're not complaining, but they're also not playing better than the Toronto Maple Leafs, despite having their captain out.
Seemed like they were better.
Okay. I will push back on this here. Yes, the first period was abysmal, and Florida jumps out to a 3-0 lead, and those types of leads are almost insurmountable against cup contending teams or defending Stanley Cup champions. But in the second and third periods, bro, and now this is the slightest of the fine filaments of a silver lining. Toronto played very well in the second and third period. I know this is unpopular, but they, held the puck. They controlled the puck for like 60% of the time in the second and third periods. They out-hit the Florida Panthers 21-19. What else? They were.
There's some nice participation medals you're giving out here.
Listen. 9-6 they led in high danger chances. Okay, third period they kill off. Michelli gets a tripping penalty on Ekblad. Leafs kill off that power play. Moments later, they're on 5-on-5, but it feels like a Toronto power play. And I think it was Matthews centers to Matthew Nyes, and Bobrovsky, who's been awful in 2026. He has like a save percentage around .850, goals against around 3.5. They're a toe save on Matthew Nyes. If that goal goes in, then it's 3-2, and that changes the complexity of the game in the third period and perhaps changes the outcome. So I know the first period was terrible, but these guys rallied in the second and third period. And I'm not sure if we'll ever see the clip of what Craig Berube said to the Toronto Maple Leafs in that first intermission, because I imagine there were 47 F-bombs. Leafs Blueprint might just delete that clip. But something changed. And these guys, I'm not going to say it's over. These guys are playing like they're looking forward to April 16th or whatever the day is. They clean out their stalls and they go about their business for summer vacation. But there were some moments of positive traction and positive gameplay. And also, last thing, Linz, before I hand the steering wheel of the show back to you, because I've just been veering off course like this, like I was in a four-wheeler. Salute to John Tavares. This guy's on his way to another 30-goal season. There was a great article written by Kristen Shilton in ESPN magazine about how he details his preparation, his mentality. I think this was not in the article, but William Nylander said that Tavares has one of those, like a hyperbaric chamber in his home with like red lights or whatever, like this red light therapy chambers or whatever. He takes his preparation very seriously. But salute to John Tavares. He ties Wendell Clark for 5th all-time in power play goals. He registered his 79th power play goal. Little centering pass goes off of Gustav Forsling to score Toronto's only goal. I know this is the slightest filament of a silver lining, but these guys did play more inspired in the second and third period, and obviously they need to put that together for 60 minutes for the rest of the 23, 24 games that remained on the schedule.
Respect to the flag that I made, the arts and crafts. It is now in the bowl on the table. It's over. We asked the chat, is it over? So for every single reply says that it is over. We even got the reference to the Vince Carter dunk meme.
Kenny Smith.
Over.
Yeah. It's over, ladies and gentlemen.
So everyone, for the most part in the chat, saying it's over. We can be optimistic and positive when we think about some storylines when it comes to individual player growth. But there's some storylines surrounding fans saying or even some experts or people that follow the team saying they should get rid of Matthews. They should trade Matthews. I'm like, do you not know what the team will be like if they don't have it? Do you not see the situation they're in now, whether or not you like Marner, which is not the whole reason that they're in this scenario. But it's interesting.
I mean,
what the heck are we doing here?
The whole Matthews thing, and I'm tired of people complaining about your best player when things go wrong. Like, the issue with the Maple Leafs is not Austin Matthews or William Nylander right now. The issue is the players around them aren't good enough. And that was solely on Brad Treliving to figure out how the pieces were going to work once you moved on from Mitch Marner. And none of the moves that they have made have worked out. Michelli, Dakota Joshua, like, go down the list. It has not worked. Brad Treliving's best move as Leafs GM is OEL, like in the last year at least. And, good for OEL, not great for the Maple Leafs because OEL's a 35-year-old defenseman. He shouldn't be, the be-all and end-all of your team, of your offseason acquisitions. And that's part of the reason this has gone as sideways as it has. With Matthews, for anybody out there saying that Matthews needs to go, that Matthews is the problem. He's happy. Look at how happy he is with Team USA, and he's never been that happy with the Leafs. It's like, stop it. This guy, every turn of his career, every time he's had the opportunity to sign a new contract, he committed to the Maple Leafs. And yet you're still trying to drive him out of town. I don't get it. What do you want? You want to be where the Vancouver Canucks are? Because that's what you would be if you move on from Austin Matthews. Right at the bottom. That's where you would go. You'd be 20 points worse than you already are. That's what happened with the Canucks when they moved on from Quinn Hughes. That's what would happen with the Leafs if they were to move on from Austin Matthews. That is a break glass in case of emergency, last resort scenario you do not want to get to, and you only get there if Austin Matthews says, you know what, I think I don't want to resign as a Maple Leaf. Until you get there, you do everything you can to build around Austin Matthews, but that's where this gets so difficult. There's only 2 years left of this guy on contract right now, and you've got to figure it out soon.
Take a bow. If we're doing a temperature check, the heat in this room went.
The room's on fire.
It is on
Dan came
fire.
with that gasoline. He's that cayenne pepper. Hold on, Dan. But you mentioned a couple players' ages. But do you believe that because of their ages, they're no longer productive players? You mentioned OEL and you mentioned Chris Tanev being 35 and 36.
No, they are productive players. But the issue is that they are the most productive players on the Leafs defense right now. Like, this is Brad Treliving built a defense around a 35 and a 36-year-old. Okay, Morgan Riley's game has dropped off, and he is in the eye of the storm after what happened last night. He's going to be on blooper reels up until the start of next season, or maybe for even longer than that. But you just, again, you built this defense and tried to build this defense around OEL, Chris Tanev, Morgan Riley, Brandon Carlo, and it's not good enough. Especially with Tanev out of the lineup, it's not good enough. And OEL, he's been an unbelievable find, but again, you're still getting outshot and outchanced pretty much every night that you go out. It just, if OEL's your best defenseman, it means you're probably not as good as other teams. And as good as OEL has been, it hasn't been good enough to get the Leafs into a playoff spot, and certainly not better than they have been in any of the previous 9 years where they were a playoff team. That's the issue.
Okay, that makes sense. Sorry, go ahead, Lindsay.
Yeah, we're just going to continue the Leafs conversation, bringing in a friend of the show, editor-in-chief of the Fourth Period. I'm going to call him the Pags. And Dan, you can say his name super Italian.
Well, it's David Pagnotta.
Yeah,
he's our guy.
Yeah, we welcome you back to the show. Welcome back.
Good morning, sir.
Buongiorno. How's everybody doing?
Yes, ciao.
We're a little heated this morning, Pags.
We're heated.
It's been a tough couple of games.
You're either going to bring the heat meter up. Yeah. Wait, did you? My flag, which was arts and crafts,
Pretty good.
Thank you. Dan. The disrespect of him throwing it on the ground, I tell you, he's going to hear about this after. But my question for you to start this off, because this is my make it make sense moment. The usage or non-usage of Easton Cowan, going into the Winter Olympic Games, wasn't there. The last couple of games, he did not play. And I'm in my mind, I'm like, is it because they're just trying to see if this team even has a chance to make it to the playoffs? But why isn't he playing? What is going on?
Well, I expect Easton Cowan to get plenty of ice time starting March 6th and on. There are some players on this team that need to be showcased, for lack of a better term. We've got the trade deadline in a week. They're going to be making some moves by all accounts. Things obviously haven't gone well after the Olympic break. These last two games in Florida against the Panthers and the Lightning have not gone well. I don't know if the guys still think they're on break, but NHL resumed and the Leafs clearly haven't. So you got to showcase some guys, see if you can prop them up a little bit and try to make some moves and recoup some assets. They are talking to Bobby McMahon and Scott Laughton about, or their camps anyway, about new contracts. But if they can't get to the finish line on either or both of those guys, they've got to explore the possibility of trading them, which there's interest. And there's interest in other guys as well. So let these other players play for the time being. The Michellis and so on, give them the ice time. And Easton Cowan will presumably play the rest of the way down the stretch.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes all of the sense. Thank you for making it make sense. It's just I'm impatient and I don't want to see him sitting up in the press box area anymore. But these last couple of games, the way that they've went for the Leafs, do you think this has changed their course of action going into the trade deadline?
I think it puts a bit of a stamp, not fully, but a bit of a stamp on what direction they're actually going to go in. Because before the Olympic freeze, they were still going to listen. They won those 3 in a row going into the break. They were still going to listen on, some of the players that I mentioned and others. They have others out there that have been dangled for a decent part of the season, be it Brandon Carlo, be it Max Domi. I mentioned Michelli. There are probably some other pieces on this team that have generated interest, whether it's OEL or Simone Benoit or whomever. They're going to continue to listen on them. I think these last 2 losses have given Brad Treliving a bit more ammunition in terms of potentially selling off some pieces. And look, the goal, clearly, we know this, is to make the playoffs. The Leafs want to make the playoffs. They want to be competitive. And once you get into the playoffs, whatever happens. But just to get there, it doesn't look like they're certainly trending in that direction as they're sitting third last right now in the Eastern Conference. So continue to have those conversations, continue to listen. You hope to rebound on Saturday against Ottawa at home and go from there. But the runway is shortening. And as I mentioned, 7 days away from the trade deadline, there are probably going to be some moves that are going to result in guys leaving and younger packages and prospects and draft picks coming back.
I guess the bigger question from me, and it's probably the $1 million question that we're all trying to figure out, is like, how much pressure is there from ownership to hang on to any little morsel of playoff opportunity they still have? Because to most of us, it's like, man, this thing is cooked. As the flag said, it is over. But for probability's sake, there's still a non-zero chance that they go on an incredible, miraculous run to get there.
Yeah, you want to see glimpses of that in these games, even if you are losing them, and they haven't shown anything the last 2. Look, certainly mandate from ownership and Keith Pelly and so on. That's you want to make the playoffs, but they are also, I believe, realistic about the direction of this team this season. Anyway, it's going to take some creativity to remold this group into a competitive one next season, and you've got to be able to generate some assets for some of your pieces if you're this far out of a playoff picture. And they can translate those assets. Like if they get some draft picks and some prospects and whatnot, they can translate that capital into other pieces down the road and have those discussions around the draft and in July to see, what deals may be available to them. But I think there is a realistic notion that this team probably is going to be in tough to try to make the playoffs. They basically are going to have to play 700 hockey the rest of the way. So,
Yikes.
A, good luck. B, if you can get these assets and fill your cupboard a little bit, I think ownership understands that that's probably the direction this has to go in. But at the same time, this is Brad Treliving's ship, and Pelly and everybody there have entrusted him with those types of decisions, and I don't think they're micromanaging him. It's Tree and his staff that have to fix this.
As far as Bobby McMahon goes, you've been all over it with the reporting on continued contract discussions with the team. But how how serious have those conversations been? Is it still just like trying to get a sense of what Bobby wants, and how much of it is, trying to play the game of, we're still interested in keeping this guy. You're going to have to blow our socks off or give us that first round pick to truly move off of Bobby McMahon. Like, I feel like some of this is, the whole trade deadline smokescreen, maybe, that the Leafs are trying to pluck as big of an asset out of Bobby McMahon as they possibly can.
Well, yeah, if they trade him, they're going to want to maximize their return. And yes, the conversations continue. I was told there's still a lot of time yesterday, a lot of time to get things done. So now we're a day late. So again, a week until the deadline. So they still feel like it doesn't, I don't get the sense that there's, I guess, dramatic urgency to try to nail this down today, tomorrow, whatever. If they can, they can. But, talking to people around the league, and I thought as well, a 5x5 or somewhere in that neighborhood is likely market value for a Bobby McMahon, especially come free agency. And I was told yesterday that I don't think the Leafs have any appetite to go in that direction for that type of contract for him. He likes it in Toronto. He's got ties here. He'd love to stay. Can they massage the money and stretch out term or something along that variation? I'm sure they can. And that's what they're trying to work on, to see if they can find a middle ground on an extension. Because to get a guy who's a 20-25 goal scorer and as versatile as he is, those guys aren't always readily available. And if you look to free agency and what the crop looks like next summer, or this summer, it's not vast. It's a very shallow free agent pool. So if you're going to try to replace Bobby McMahon, it's probably going to have to come through the trade market. And what assets do you have to give up? So it's a bit of a tricky situation where they're at with Bobby McMahon right now, doing all of this on the contract side while also entertaining trade calls for him. And at the end of the day, it may be, on the grand scheme of it, more beneficial to move him if, Rich, like you were saying, they can bring in a first-round pick, or they can get a strong amount of capital back for him and for some of the others, and then you figure out, next steps after the fact. But they're still trying to sign him, and if they can come to middle ground, they'd like to make it happen, and he would too. But if that 5x5 bracket, that neighborhood, is firm, it's probably not happening in Toronto.
Pags, good morning, sir. I'd like to zoom out a little bit and look at the Eastern Conference. This is called for real or for fraud, my friend. Removing Tampa Bay from the discussion, give me an NHL team that is for real as a playoff contender and one that is for fraud as a team that may not make the playoffs. And here's the list: Detroit, Montreal, Carolina, Pittsburgh, Long Island Islanders, Buffalo, and Boston. Who is for real and who is for fraud?
I mean, other than Carolina, and I put the Canes as the other for real team in this, and they're going to probably make some kind of splash over this next week, because they always do. They're not afraid to take those swings. I put them at the top of the crop outside of Tampa, like you said, and I don't think the rest of them have any of the horses to be a legit Stanley Cup contender. I think it's been good seasons, and you're seeing Detroit and Montreal taking next steps, especially Detroit taking a big step this year, and the Habs continuing on their path. The Islanders taking a good step forward, and there's some promise there. Buffalo's just a great story because they haven't made the playoffs since Nam, so it's great for them to get in the mix and back in that. So that's key. Boston, Pittsburgh, good seasons, still growing. I think it's really it's Carolina and Tampa at the top of the heap, and then everybody else, the other 6 teams in this playoff bracket. I think fraud's a little harsh for some of them, but I just don't think any of those guys are legit cup contenders at this stage. They're getting
is there a team in that list that you think will not make the playoffs? So again, Detroit, Montreal, excluding Carolina, Pittsburgh, the Islanders, Buffalo, and Boston.
I want Buffalo to make it, so I'm hoping and hopeful for them and their fan base that they can see playoff action again. I think the 2 wildcard teams are the 2 bubble teams. I think the 3 in the Metro, the 3 in the Atlantic, however that's going to be positioned. I think those three are there. And I think Pittsburgh, everybody was wondering with Sid out for a month, how that's going to affect him. Well, pretty impressive 4-1 win over Jersey, even though Jersey's been really rough this season. But they pulled that off. I think there's enough runway there to stay in it. It's the two wildcard teams for me that might be those bubble teams. And Washington's right on their heels, a few points back, and they're looking to add as well. So we're going to see kind of where that, obviously ends up. But the two that I worry the most about are those two wildcard teams. But I'm cheering for Buffalo because I want to see them in that mix. So maybe Boston for me right now, and they're looking to be relatively aggressive, even though their GM Don Sweeney yesterday said he's approaching the deadline a little bit differently. Well, talk around the league is they're pretty aggressive in trying to add a forward and a defenseman. So we'll see what they end up doing.
Okay.
So I've got a bit of a out of the box idea for the Leafs here, and maybe Brad Treliving could take a page out of Masai Ujiri's book when they traded for Brandon Ingram and maybe go out and get a distressed asset. I'm thinking like Robert Thomas, but then I'm reminded of how few assets the Leafs have to actually trade, and it immediately gets shut down. But like, is there, one of those, hey, try to go out and acquire somebody with term that's maybe not, you're making a bet on somebody that's, hopefully going to rebound. Is that something the Leafs could look at? Because it's the only buyer scenario that might work in a Leafs context, I feel.
Yeah, and that would make sense because, again, going back to the free agent pool of how shallow it is, they're going to have to find ways to bring in assets to improve themselves next season. And those assets probably are not coming via the free agent market, not impact ones. Because, realistically, there's Alex Tuck and there's Nick Schmaltz that are expected to hit the UFA market, and then I guess Bobby McMahon. But outside of them and a few other guys, that's it. So you're going to have 30 teams going after these guys. You're going to have to go the trade route. So if you're bringing in somebody with term that can slot into your top six, I take a look at Vancouver. They have a number of assets that they're willing to move that have term. Connor Garland as one of them, Jake DeBrusk is the other. And Jake DeBrusk is a full no trade, but the notion is that he's willing to waive it for the right environment. I don't know if that's Toronto, but I would take a swing. And Garland is the other. And those guys have term. Garland's extension kicks in July 1. Cap hit goes to $6 million. DeBrusk's on a pretty decent contract as well. Nobody's numbers are fantastic in Vancouver because of obvious reasons. So you have to buy the potential that you feel these guys will be better in this environment. But yeah, a guy like Jordan Kyrou, a guy like, Rob Thomas in St. Louis, they'd be great. But I don't think the assets are there or willingness to package those types of assets to convince St. Louis to do that. I think there's more potential for a team like Vancouver with guys like DeBrusk or Garland as potential targets.
The final one for you, Pags. You mentioned the Canucks. I feel like the way the rumor mill is going and what Jim Rutherford had to say in some interviews this week, feels like they could trade literally everybody on that roster right now. Is there anybody else that's going to be as big of a seller next week than the Vancouver Canucks might be?
The one we just talked in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Basically, everybody over 25 in St. Louis is available. And pretty much, other than the young kids and Philip Hronek in Vancouver, Canucks are willing to listen on just about anybody. So those are the two teams that could be the most active. And they've tried. Like St. Louis tried to trade Matthew Joseph. They haven't found the right fit. They threw him on waivers yesterday. If he doesn't get picked up today, they're going to still try to trade him before the deadline. Nashville's got some pieces that they got a lot of free agents, pending free agents, Bunting, Howla, McCarron, Blackenberg on the back end, plus some of their other guys, whether it's Marchessault, Stamkos, whomever, that they're willing to listen on. But the Blues have a lot of different pieces. Suter, Shen, Falk all on 1 year. They all have 1 year left, They're all available. They have Sundqvist, obviously Joseph. They have Kyrou and Thomas, like we talked about. Some chatter about Colton Parayko. He's got a full no move, so we'll see what happens there. Binnington and so on. So St. Louis and Vancouver seem to have the most pieces that are readily available. It's just St. Louis has set a very high price tag on a number of their guys, and Vancouver's presumably doing the same, but listing on a bunch of others, including Evander Kane, who seems to be like a plan C and D for a lot of teams that are looking for forwards out there. So those are the ones. Calgary too. Calgary's got Kadri and Lomberg and Coleman, and they're listening on Uyghur and a bunch of others. So we should see some decent activity over this next week. And it'll probably be a little bit of a trickle effect going into the deadline next Friday.
We always appreciate your insight, and I'm going to call you David because I have two very professional questions for you right now. First one from the chat. They want to know if you've named your rat.
It's Brad.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
It's 10 out of 10 answer. And then this one I'm going to ask you. I hope you'll talk to me again in person and come on the show after I put you on the spot with this. Have you ever been to Magic City? Do you know what Magic City is?
No.
Oh, great answer.
Like
Yeah.
It is a famous strip club in Atlanta that the Atlanta Hawks have announced they're doing a partnership for one night where they're giving out like hoodies that say Magic City and having T.I. perform at halftime, where I guarantee he'll be making it rain for the people in there. So my question to you, do you think the Leafs would ever have a collaboration with the Brass Rail or Zanzibar?
I don't think that's in MLSE's MO to do stuff like that.
Yeah, maybe not.
So probably not. Is this the place where everyone was talking? Is this the Atlanta place where everyone was talking about their wings are amazing?
That's
yes.
the one.
Nailed it.
Lemon pepper.
That's the one?
The lemon pepper wings. Yeah.
All right. Well, if the NHL gets the team back in Atlanta, maybe.
I was just going to say, when the Thrashers come back, maybe there's a promotional idea for that NHL team.
We appreciate your time, as always, and a very wholesome answer that you've never been there. Thanks for your time today, Pegs.
Take care, guys.
Let's get back on the train that happening in Atlanta. Yes, if you have not heard, first of all, the Raptors, they're in action tomorrow taking on the Wizards, who I just need to check how many wins have they had? Like 16 wins?
Still bad.
Yeah, they're just still bad. They're still bad. They have 16 wins. The Wizards have 16 wins. Raptors,
how's old Street Clothes doing over there with the Wiz?
Street Clothes, oh.
Hey, listen, they're going to be good next year, bro. I know you're joking now. With Trey and AD, they're going to be, and they have a nice young core. Look out, Washington.
Those 24 games that AD plays next year, they're going to be electric.
You know what? That's fair. That is fair. 18 to 24. I'd put us over under about 23 and a half. And might take the under on how many games he plays in 27.
How Cabbie's voice raised is how my voice raised when I had somebody from the Atlanta team send me a message saying, "Did you see our collaboration?" I'm like, "You're collaborating with a strip club?
Yeah.
What?" I've been to Magic City.
Oh, have you?
Because I heard their wings were great. I went last time with some people that worked or covered the Raptors because they said it was great. It's a strip club.
How were the wings?
The wings were great because I kept my eyes on them the whole time.
No, you did not.
Yeah,
no, you did not.
Let's hope Joyce is not watching
because,
right
now. No. It is true. People that went because I'm a giggly person.
Okay.
So the last thing you want is somebody laughing hysterically at a strip club when people are doing their job, and it is a true story. And the guys to this day will not let me live it down because they thought it was so funny because I was like a little kid giggling eating my wings. It is a true story because I have multiple people that can back me up on this. But yes, for the chat, the Atlanta Hawks, this is definitely an NBA first, partnering with the institution, as they call it, of Magic City.
It is in fact an institution
in Atlanta. A lot of famous stories coming out of there of Raptors, maybe Raptors. I'm pretty sure a couple went there in the day, but NBA players, rappers, and athletes, entertainers going to this establishment. So they're giving out hoodies that say Magic City, and like I mentioned, T.I. performing at halftime, which is perfect for this. But the late Commissioner David Stern, there's no way in hell this would happen. I think this is hilarious, and I know a lot of people are like clenching their pearls saying this isn't the way that this family-friendly organization is supposed to be going, but hey, this was not on my bingo card, Dan.
It's part of the recruitment process for the Atlanta Hawks, I think. I'm sure NBA players already know of this world famous establishment because the wings are so good, right, Cab? That's the big draw.
Okay, hold on. It's not just NBA players that go there.
Yeah,
no, everyone.
NFL
it's
players
athletes,
go there.
Athletes,
baseball players
athletes,
go there.
I'm
sure
people.
Some hockey players have gone there. Some soccer players go there. Yeah, the wings. Okay, first of all, Liz, there's absolute cap. There's no way you go in there and you're just staring at that small window where and you can see into the kitchen and you see the 6 or 8 people making the wings. I've been there on a Monday.
While I was eating my wings, I was
Kat
staring
knows
at
this
my
place really
wings
well.
while I was eating them. Like I didn't look up from my food.
Yeah, but it takes an hour to get the wings. It takes a long. What else you're not just gonna look into the corner.
Oh, I was.
Or just
yeah.
stare
So I
into
see
that.
where I see where you're coming from. I was a late arrival to the party, so wings were at the table when I arrived.
What table? There are no tables. I mean, there's tables. You can get a table. But you got to play. I mean, someone was someone spending thousands of dollars? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Oh.
My
All right.
experience was unique on so many levels.
All right.
But let's talk about wings.
Wow.
Okay, so I've been there. I've been to Magic City Mondays, which is their famous night, and the A-list celebrities, entertainers, athletes have been in there, and my experience with the wings, I actually find they're overrated. And I don't say a lot of things are overrated in life in general because maybe I keep my expectations low so that I can measure my level of joy and satisfaction. But I thought specifically the lemon pepper wings. Now, these are the wings that Lou Williams, during the NBA bubble, left the bubble to say he wanted, he missed the wings, but obviously didn't just miss the wings. The whole environment was fun, I'm sure, for Lou Will, who has famously had 2 girlfriends. Had a girlfriend and a girlfriend had the girlfriend. Anyway, salute to 6-man Lou Will on Drake's track. But this promotion, and yes, David Stern in 2004 could probably never envision this kind of a partnership in 2026. But life is a lot different now than what David Stern, when he was the commissioner of the NBA. Like culturally a lot different. What do you think David Stern would think of OnlyFans? A platform where people can make millions of dollars just putting honey on their toes and other different sexual proclivities. Like the conversation. Sorry, the culture is a
Big
lot.
word.
Proclivities.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I learned that. Well, honey on toes. Listen, there's a market for that. I'm not saying I don't want you to look at my
Cabbie?
search history, but anyway.
Cabbie.
But I think this partnership. Magic City is a cultural institution in Atlanta, and I mean the team is, they traded away their franchise player like a month ago. The team's not going anywhere this year, and it's one of Atlanta's. It's one of their signature destinations. Dare I say tourist spots? It's probably got Yelp reviews, and it probably shows up on the map of Atlanta as places to see. So I'm not mad at this partnership. I actually think it's kind of genius.
Fun.
And just admitting it probably is groundbreaking. But just imagine we had for a Toronto context, like a House of Austin promote. I don't know if House of Lancaster is still open. But like maybe not the brass rail, but like the maple rail as an interesting pop up, or the sundowner. How could you play on that one? Well, I can figure it out. This is an early brainstorm, and these are half baked ideas. But I like the promotion overall with the strip club because it's just entertainment, folks, and people are going to go there regardless. And this is just another way to capitalize on a famous institution and while your team is doo-doo pie.
Well, we all remember A-Rod gave the brass rail the best promotion it could ever have. So,
yeah, and he went to the upper brass. You got to go around the back to go up to. Shout out to Big Ron, who no longer works there. Big Ron has moved on from that period in his life, but he was. Thank you for your service, Big Ron.
Yeah, you really know them all, Cabbie.
I've been around.
You're the best. There's another collaboration that I thought was a genius move that happened yesterday, but for real, I want that Magic City hoodie. Was Anthony Edwards was fined 25,000 cool ones for throwing a ball forcibly in the stands by the NBA, which, fun fact, another player was also fined for throwing a ball in the stands within the last couple of days. NBA, they have some issues going on.
There's a lot
but
going
Anthony Edwards was fined, and so Adidas, who he has a partnership with, then quote tweeted the announcement with an ad from Adidas saying, good thing we're prepared for these moments. It's this great ad showing, like, Cabbie, I want your thoughts on this and to explain a little bit because you love this as well. This is great.
1,000%. And Anthony Edwards is just like an incredible personality. And he's just, so in the commercial, he's got his legs kicked up and then his, I think the character's like his PR manager or something, is literally putting racks on racks on racks in a gym bag, 430 grand. And they're saying, we're prepared for this moment. But like the speed in which the brand responded to this was just so great. And he's like the perfect personality for this type of execution and activation. And in the league, like, I don't know if the NBA will ever be Anthony Edwards' league, but he's building the resume towards that. They went to the conference finals last year, or was it 2 years ago? And they lost to Dallas. It was last year, right? Or was it 2 years ago? It was last year? Jeez, I'm having a brain freeze. But he's the guy. Like he is a guy, one of the faces of the league, which will carry forward after Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and LeBron James all say bye to the association. He'll be one of the shoulders that the league is carried by. Great ad. Love Adidas. And it's also, KD had a clip the other day. I think it was 2 days ago or 3 days ago. He was like, who the bleep wears Adidas? Well, the guy that might take you out in the playoffs this year is the dude who wears Adidas, as well as your former teammate, James Harden. I don't know why he's slandering Adidas. Well, actually, I do know because he's a Nike athlete, but I'm all in on this ad with Anthony Edwards. Just super cool, very authentic, laid back, and charming and hilarious. So kudos, 3 stripes.
This has been such an entertaining and interesting show in the chat.
The chat's
Loving
very
it right
interesting,
now.
yes.
The chat is interesting. We're learning a whole bunch of things, but we need to talk baseball. Yes, Blue Jays. We saw Kevin Gausman make his spring training debut for the season. He was fantastic. Some interesting base running happened. But you had a great conversation with a former Blue Jay.
Yeah, Michael Saunders was able to catch up with him a couple of days ago as, we're getting ready for the WBC. Canada's, got an interesting chance to maybe make it past the group stage. So we talked to a former Canadian, was an Olympian as well. Michael Saunders joined us on Off the Roster. So, Mike, living back on the island now, how is it?
It's great. It's great. We mentioned it a little bit earlier, just catching up, that the weather's a little bit more tame than it is out east. So, not complaining much, man. I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, and doing a little coaching now back at your secondary school that you grew up in. How's that going?
It's great. It's great. So, like you said, I moved the family back here. It was like a 5-year process, give or take, and it was always a dream of mine to be able to give back one day to youth sports here in Victoria, and it's just given me so much throughout my life. And going back to the school that I graduated from, Lambert Park Secondary, just helping out there part-time, just coaching and just sticking around the game. None of my kids play softball or baseball, so officially walked away from pro ball and coaching there with the Braves, and then Seattle last year. And this is my way to stick around the game and still continue to get my fix and also help out.
What is it about the left coast in Canada that made it such a baseball hotbed?
The best coast, man. West Coast, best coast. Well, I think it starts with guys like Larry Walker and Morneau and those guys. I know that obviously some big guys have come out of the East as well, but just overall, I don't think it's like, where did the best players come from or anything like that. I'm just glad to see, the country as a whole grow with the product, in professional baseball. And I think it starts with guys like Larry Walker, Dempster, obviously Fergie Jenkins, kind of the OG of Canadian baseball. But just essentially, those were the guys that really showed me that, hey, there's a pathway here. Even being from Canada and playing 3 or 4 months out of the year compared to, the rest of the States where you can play all year round. And those were guys that I certainly looked up to when I was growing up.
Yeah, and you repped Canada quite a bit. You were an Olympian in 2008, and again at the WBC. You were on the All WBC team in 2013. It had to be a thrill of a lifetime, I would imagine, to suit up for Canada.
Always. Yeah, whenever I got the call from Greg, it was zero hesitation on my end. it's the best way I can put it is it's an honor, right, to represent your country. And that's the epitome of competition when you get to really put Canada across your chest. You're no longer ever really supposed to be playing for the name on the back of the jersey, but really representing the name on the front. And, I've never been more proud to be Canadian than wearing that Baseball Canada jersey.
You had like the clutch gene, man. Like you were great in that WBC, had a couple of homers in your Olympic experience. I remember in 2016 with the Jays, like it kind of felt like you were the only guy who had the bat going, or one of the few that had the bats going. What was it that you just you found a way to clutch up in some of those big moments?
Not, I guess, not just trying to. It's a great question. I guess trying to, take like every other game. But like I said, there's something about wearing that jersey and really being proud for representing where you come from, right? And playing for Toronto was a dream come true of mine, and really representing Canada's team. And it's a lot of fun to see what they're doing currently, and can't wait to see what the registration rates look like throughout the country with all the success. And now more than ever, where you have access via social media to some of your favorite players and some of these superstars, they're really allowing you to, you know, sort of come into their personal lives and see what they do, and really interacting with fans. So I can't wait to see how many more youth kids sign up and register. And other than that, I can't, say enough about what it really means to me. And I think I can speak on behalf of all athletes when they, not just baseball, not just from Canada, but where they, really represent their country. There's, that sense of pride that I think elevates their game to the next level.
You just mentioned the Jays and the playoffs and what it could mean moving forward for Canadian baseball. But as a longtime Mariner and a Blue Jay, like, was it weird watching the Jays and Mariners in the ALCS? I mean, it was an epic series, but was it? What was that like for you?
Really good baseball to watch, man. A lot of fun. For me, I describe it sort of like a win-win. I was working for Seattle last year as the outfield base running coordinator. So, I had a good talk with a buddy of mine, Luke Wilson, and also a big Seattle sports fan, right?
Yeah.
And so I'll be honest with you, man. I was pulling for the Mariners. I really was. But I wasn't sad to see anyone lose. And then obviously when the Jays moved on, I had my Blue Jays hat on and my fan gear on, and it was hard not to be, man. Like, just talking to my neighbors, and I tell them I can't remember the last time I was so glued to the TV watching a baseball series. And
Yeah.
normally baseball would be on in the background, right? But for that series, I dropped whatever I was doing. That was on my schedule, whatever night it was on. I worked around the games because I couldn't wait to watch.
Yeah, and I mean, you experienced it as a player, but like the Rogers Center and just how the city comes alive in the playoffs for the Blue Jays, it's just it takes it to another level. What do you remember about playing in the postseason with the Jays?
Best fans in the world. That place, when I say it was rocking, literally you could go in there, and I've said it to numerous people that the I will always call it the Sky Dome, right? But the Rogers
Yeah.
Center was literally shaken. It really was. And you talk about home field advantage. When we had that place packed, and we were going on a run there about the end of May, early June-ish. The weather started turning. They were opening the roof. We went on a run, and slowly but surely, we started selling out the place. And literally from July through September and then into the playoffs, that place was sold out. And it was so much fun, man. And no matter how I was feeling, I'll never forget it. No matter how I was feeling, how banged up I was, I found a different gear. And all of a sudden, when I stepped out onto the field in front of those fans and how loud they were, the adrenaline would kick in every night. And I'd find a way to get it done.
Remember, you're one of the handful of Blue Jays that's had a hat trick of homers in one game at Camden Yards against the Orioles. Two of them were opposite field as well, so you showcase that opposite field power. Is that a day like you just like the ball looks like a beach ball as it's coming in? Like, how would you describe being in the zone like you were on a 3-homer day?
Yeah, like you said, the game just feels slow. The game feels slow. It's like in slow motion. The ball looks huge. I always really enjoyed playing at Camden Yards. And, every time it was one of those stadiums where I'd check the schedule to see when we were heading in there. And whenever we'd leave,
bandbox.
wherever we were on the flight, heading into Camden Yards, I knew I was good for usually a couple homers throughout the series. I think that was just my confidence grow every time, but to do it all in one game was pretty surreal. And, looking back on it, I know I just missed the fourth there where I flew out to the warning track at the wall. But that's one of those games where, like, once it's over, you look back and you're like, wow, that was pretty special. But when you're in the moment of it, just taking it AB per AB, and I felt like no matter how hard the guy was throwing that night, the game was just slowed down for me.
Crazy. It's it's when you can see those kinds of games, and you flew out to the track. Would have been up there with Delgado as a 4-homer night. Spring training's ongoing right now. Do you remember your first spring training? Was there like a welcome to the big leagues moment for you?
Yeah, my first big league spring training actually was when the season after I got called up. So I had never experienced a big league camp before. I got called up in the middle of 2009. And then my first camp was 2010. And, first time stepping into the big league clubhouse in the spring training facility. But my first sort of welcome to the big league moment was the day I got called up. It was a day game the following day, and I got the word at 11:30 or midnight after a game down in AAA. Luckily, it was just up the road there in Tacoma. But I walked into the clubhouse, and I obviously got there super early. I couldn't sleep the night before. And sitting across from me was Ken Griffey Jr., and that was sort of my welcome to the big leagues moment. Yeah. And he was a guy I idolized growing up. And I tell this to everybody that, there's far and few between players that we know and we can remember for what they did on the back of their baseball cards, their stats, and obviously the Hall of Famers, right? But I tell everybody that he was an even better teammate and better person than I could have ever imagined.
I bet the start of spring training is exciting, and it's fun to see all the boys again. And then it can start to be a grind. Does it start to be a grind as the month goes on?
Yeah, the joke is that you're only 100% day one of camp, and then as soon as day one's over, all of a sudden the body starts hurting again. All that kind of thing. But no, spring training, especially when you've been with a team for a while and your buddies, and if you go on a run like say the Jays just did, I can guarantee they sort of look at it like unfinished business, and I'm sure after they all went to the beach after the season was over, the playoffs were over, they rested, they spent some good quality time with their family. I guarantee once the new year hit, they were itching at the bit to get back down to Florida. And it's definitely really exciting. It's really exciting, especially if you haven't been able to play outside for a while, to get the ball rolling. And, opening day is something that it's really hard to describe to anybody who hasn't experienced it before. But it's that time where you've been thinking about it as soon as the calendar year turns.
Before we let you go, the WBC is upcoming. I know you're one of your teammates, James Paxton, Big Maple, he's going to get back out there on the mound for Canada. You think he's still got it in him?
I love that. Oh yeah. And I'm sure he's going to come up in a big spot too, and just remind the world how talented he really is. I got a chance to talk to him at the Baseball Canada Awards banquet in January, and he's super excited about it, as he should be. Again, one last chance. I describe my own career as it started with Baseball Canada as a junior player, and I got an opportunity to represent Canada one last time at the Premier 12 in 2019 when we went to South Korea, and it was a storybook ending for me to start my career wearing a Canadian jersey, to finish it wearing a Canadian jersey. And I can guarantee you he's feeling the same way. So I think he's going to step up in a big situation.
That's awesome. Mike, we really appreciate the time. All the best, and keep enjoying the Best Coast.
All right. Yeah. West Coast, best coast, baby. All right, man. Good talking.
Nice job, man.
That
nice
was
job.
a freaking great interview. So insightful, so fun. Sky Dome forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sky
and
Dome
remember,
forever.
do you guys ever feel a type of way when you saw James Paxton wearing a Boston uniform? Because I certainly did. I mean, him throwing a 99. Yeah, him throwing a 99 pitch no hitter at Sky Dome against us, with Seattle, that didn't bother me. I've actually felt great for him because it was the fifth no hitter ever. But then
That's
just when he was with the
Canadian baseball moment when he did that.
Oh, big time. Yeah. Just with the Red Sox, I love Mookie Betts and I love Big Papi, and I hate everything else about Boston. And so just seeing James Paxton for a couple of years there, I always just felt weird. Even though I love that there's so few Canadians in MLB, and I root for him, just not in a Red Sox uniform. Never.
No, absolutely not. Hard no on that. And it's funny, during this conversation, I just realized it's Friday.
It is.
I was like, I'm so
Happy
excited
Friday.
right now. Happy Friday. Means nothing. I have 2 9-5 games this weekend. They had a lovely win. But like, hey, it's Friday. Let's keep these vibes going. And some great news. I forgot to bring this up to you, Dan, a couple days ago. And I feel like it happened and they waited until Cabbie was back so we could all share this moment forever. We know you beat the CMB drum, that he should be getting more recognition as a rookie. My friend, NBA.com, put out the new rookie ladder. Coming in at number 10, our guy, CMB. Yeah,
It's about time. It's about time. Put some respect on his name.
Just took an all-star game appearance, but hey, here you go, all-star weekend.
Somebody's like, "Oh, this guy's pretty good. Maybe I should. Maybe we should put him in the rookie top 10. I don't know.
I mean, the guy just held Wemby to like 12 points. I mean, him and some of his teammates, and that's freaking Wemby, who's 8'11" and can drop 40 points whenever. So yes. Put some respect. You know what? Not just put some respect on his name. Make it all caps. Put it in bold and increase the font to 24 points. Arial. Let's go.
24 points. I'm like 72. I want to see. You can't tell what letters are there.
Oh, that's how big it needs to be for Grandma Linz to actually see it.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
All right, we're going there. Anyways, you threw my flag on the ground. I'm still mad at you. Anyways, it's time for your ProLine look ahead. The new ProLine app is here. Betting online with ProLine Plus and betting in store with ProLine are both easier than ever with the new ProLine app. Has more sports, more leagues, and more markets than ever now, with more ways to same game parlay your favorite sports, including baseball. And yes, these are for entertainment purposes only. Dan, what do you got?
Well, tonight we are looking at the NHL slate, and some news today that Mr. I'm Seeing Ghosts All the Time, Quinn Hughes, is going to be on SNL this weekend. But tonight he's up against the Utah Mammoth. So we've got Quinn Hughes for 2 points, 2+ 2 or more. We're going with Quinn Hughes, the always producing defenseman, to get us 2+ points tonight.
Wait, wasn't that Sam Darnold who saw ghosts? Or does Quinn Hughes also see ghosts?
Quinn Hughes is seeing ghosts too, but Sam Darnold's admitted to seeing ghosts. Quinn Hughes, everybody just thinks he's seeing ghosts while he's always stone-faced on the bench and just looking into oblivion.
Resting sad face.
For
entertainment purposes only, Jack Eichel versus the Washington Capitals. This guy, again, this is a gut feel like yesterday with Cole Caulfield. Today, I'm assuming there's going to be a post-Olympic bump. And this team, the Vegas Golden Knights in the last 4 games have averaged 5 goals a game. These guys can score. And also he was on Scott Van Pelt yesterday with his good friend Noah Hannafin. So he's been on the East Coast, just relaxing. The team will join him after stomping the LA Kings 6-4. Jack Eichel to record 2 or more points tonight against the Washington Capitals is my ProLine look-ahead play of the day or the weekend.
I love it. I'm excited to see what's happening. I never want to see ghosts. My nickname, if you guys want to start calling me this instead, was Casper for many years because I am, if you look at me now, I have a lot of bronzer on if you're watching us right now. And I was sunburned the moment I stepped into spring training. Okay. The sun hit me and it was reflective. People put glasses on. They're like, whoa, a ghost is here. Yeah. My nickname was Casper for many years, or Lucky. So, yeah.
It's a great movie.
Lucky's a great nickname. Casper.
Yeah, Lucky I liked, and it's because I was so unlucky when I had like 11 concussions. Ironic. Yeah, 11 concussions by the time I was like in grade 12, almost all sports related. But yeah, Casper, great movie. Devin Sawa, when I was younger, that man, along with JTT, Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Hold on.
I was going to say Christina Ricci was a crush of young Dan Ricci.
Hold on.
But. Yes.
You've seen Casper and not Shrek?
Oh yeah, I didn't bring that up on the show yet.
I'm sorry.
No. We can absolutely have this in the chat. Yeah. I've never seen Shrek, and next week I
can't believe you've never seen Shrek.
I have asked anybody I've interviewed for like the last year, have you seen Shrek? Have you seen Shrek? Because when I brought this up to people like Max Scherzer, they're like, and Don Mattingly, they're like, you've never seen Shrek? I'm like, I didn't know it was such a big deal. I even spoke to Mike Myers about it because we're at the 25th anniversary of Shrek, and I didn't realize The only other like regular human that I've met that has not watched Shrek happens to be the guy who put a ring on it. It was my husband. And so, yeah, I was thinking we could have like a watch along party with off the roster crew. But I will definitely play everyone's reaction to me not seeing Shrek and why they love it and that I'm bananas. But Cabbie and Dan. So, yeah, wait, Cabbie, do you have something you want to add?
I'm so sorry that this was pre-show conversation, that it was not
don't be sorry.
public yet,
Yeah,
and
no.
I thought my bad.
No reason to be upset. This is great conversation. This is our show. We're having fun. And if I ever got mad at something like that, you should kick my very white behind off this show. We have chill vibes here. But something that I did not watch and now I'm starting to watch years later is the show Entourage, which, yes,
Oh my God, you never watched Entourage?
I'm 5 episodes in.
What is happening here?
Yeah, I am hooked. Not only do I love the throwback to the fashion, because as soon as something happens, I'm like, I know exactly where I was when the low-rise jeans were in and like the belly chains. I was in elementary school and high school, and I was not allowed to wear them to my very Catholic school that I went to. But this show is entertaining. I love Turtle. I love Jeremy Piven's character.
Oh,
and
Ari Gold is like a legendary
I
television
am
character.
so behind and catching up. So it's like I'm on season 1, episode 5, and I'm living this in
So I'm kind of surprised,
time.
like watching it for the first time in 2026 would be like, I'm sure some of the jokes maybe don't fly the same way, especially Ari's jokes, right, Cab? Like Ari,
1000%. Like the way he treats Lloyd.
Oh,
it's just
Lloyd!
Like,
oh my God,
Yeah.
so good.
And,
I don't
and
know
he
who Lloyd
says
is.
the
Oh,
most.
you don't even know who Lloyd is yet. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I'm excited, guys. So like,
I wish I could watch Entourage for the first time again.
That's what my husband said to me. He's like, I'm so jealous you're experiencing this for the first time, because he remembers watching and how much he loved it. He said rewatching and he still loves it. And I don't know if something's wrong with me that I'm not offended by the show yet, but it's so funny. The character dynamics in the first couple of episodes and the appearances, like the guest spots already in season 1, I hear they get better and better.
Just
So
wait till you see Bob Saget.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Saget
great.
is-
I mean,
I kind of
RIP
just
Danny
RIP
Tanner, Danny
to
Tanner,
Bob
Full
Saget,
House
but-
is in
yeah.
this?
yeah.
Oh, I am so pumped, guys. I like, the thing is, every day, like, this is my happy place. Usually I'll put on like a vinyl record in the morning and it's like clears my head, but at night I put on an episode of Entourage. I'm like, I love this show and I love that I can binge watch it. I worked at HMV, for those who may not know that. It used to be a music and like videos and all that other store. And so many people would buy Entourage, the box set. I'm like, what is with these people? And
We
now,
used to
like,
have watch parties. Like me, my brother,
So
and my
good.
cousin would weekly when it was on.
Yeah.
You know, it was like you're on 8 o'clock, whenever it was, and it was just like you're there waiting for Entourage. 30
off
minutes,
the
best
roster.
30 minutes ever.
Yeah.
I think it was 9 p.m.
Yeah.
It was on Sunday nights on HBO.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
too worked at
Not bad.
HMV, and my roommate, who's now a film director, we worked in the video department, and I think we had 1 or 2 Entourage box sets, but it was absolutely it was appointment viewing TV for like a specific demographic that loves seeing celebrity cameos, and whether it was entertainers like. Actually, I won't ruin any of the cameos. I was gonna say a few names, but I won't ruin it for you, Lindsay. Just it's a very fun ride.
I'm so excited. And then we can have a rewatch party, off the roster rewatch, where we also watch Shrek and back-to-back crazy episodes. In the chat, they're right now calling me out right now saying, I bet you she's never even seen The Sopranos.
No.
I have not
No.
I'm so sorry. So my question to you guys, if you could rewatch a show, like relive
see one
that
for the first time?
for the first time and that feeling, what show would it be?
Okay. I mean, Sopranos is an easy answer, but I think Breaking Bad would be my answer.
Oh.
Ultimately, like, I think for me, it's still like a top 3 all time. And the dynamic of Bryan Cranston and Jesse Pinkman, Aaron Paul, something I'll never forget. That show was unbelievable. Blew my mind.
I saw the last episode ever of it, and that's the only episode I've ever seen,
my
and it's
God.
great.
How do you only watch the last episode?
When I went and looked up like the whole thing in the trunk and all that, and how that there was like the stuff with pizza, I'm like, that is such clever writing.
Oh no!
So, anyways, Cabbie, what's your answer? I'm just
I
ruining
have
your whole
2,
day.
and they're yeah. This is
So sorry.
like this is the most shocking conversation I've had in 2026. Is this right now? 2, and they're opposite ends of the television spectrum. Arrested Development for comedy, just brilliant writing, and then the show 24, which starred Kiefer Sutherland as Jack Bauer.
That's off
just
the board.
Tight. Yeah, definitely off the board. Tight, incredible, gripping drama and hilarious, nuanced comedy and just brilliant. I can't even remember the showrunner's name, but Jason Bateman as George Michael and Michael Cera as George Michael Jr. It was comedic. It's probably my favorite. Fresh Prince and then Arrested Development is my second favorite comedy.
It's a great comedy.
Yeah. You've never watched Arrested Development, have you?
I have. I put in
Have
the
you?
chat. No, I have. But I put in the chat, I wasn't going to tell you, so I have not watched 24 either. I'm really behind in all these great TV shows. I saw Better Call Saul in there. Yeah, I have to catch up on that. But before we go, our producer Nick brought in some Cheetos because this is usually what I eat for breakfast. But these are a new flavor called hot pepper and garlic. So
Hot pepper and garlic.
So what we're going to do to end this show is
those
we
probably taste.
But you're like not a hot pepper person.
No,
Liz.
but I'm going to eat one and you're going to eat one. And we're going to thank everyone for joining us for Off the Roster. We're going to have some great interviews for you next week. We're going to talk Jays, Raptors, hockey, whatever it may be. But hot pepper and garlic. And we deserve this because Cabbie had to eat sardines in one day. Thanks for joining us.
This seems a little bit better than sardines.
1,000%.
Oh! No.
Too much garlic.
Tastes like old Pizza Hut. Have a great weekend. Thanks for joining us on Off the Roster.
Hope you enjoyed this video. If you want more Off the Roster content, make sure to like and hype this video and subscribe to the Nation Network YouTube channel.